In the second part of the lesson, we will look at the main functions for creating three-dimensional objects, such as extrusion and rotation. First, we will need a sketch. Let's create it on the XY plane. Use the rectangle from Center command. As the center, we will specify the origin and create a rectangle of arbitrary shape. Let's add dimensions. Specify the length as 30 and the height as 50. To align the sketch relative to the origin, add dimensions to the center. As in the previous example, specify them in terms of d2 divided by 2, and the second dimension d1 divided by 2. Draw an arbitrary circle at the top of the rectangle and complete creating the sketch. Remember how we created objects in direct modeling. Select the object. A couple of clicks, set its dimensions, and all is ready. In parametric modeling, as I've already mentioned, the basis of any construction is the sketch. After creating the sketch, we should use one of the commands from the parametric modeling panel. Let's use the 3D extrude command. After activation, a parameter window will appear. We need to specify the sketch for extrusion. When hovering the mouse cursor over the appropriate sketch, it will highlight. Select the sketch, after which a preview of our extrusion will appear. When selecting sketches, you can specify several contours contained in one sketch, just by clicking on them with the left mouse button. Let's add a circle to our sketch. Now we have a solid rectangle extruded. To exclude a contour from the selection, click on it while holding the Shift key. Below the extrusion distance field, there are icons for directions. Here we can choose the direction of extrusion: positive, negative, or both directions from the sketch plane. Below, you can set the angle of slope, taper, for our extruded profile. For example, let's set 15 degrees and see what we get. Click OK. Turn on the Shaded with Edges display mode. The result of our actions will be the creation of a 3D body. Pay attention to the 3D history. Our body has been added to it. By right-clicking on it, we can rename, delete, or hide it from the graphics area so it doesn't get in our way. In the same way, we can show it again. The next option allows to lock the body in space. Currently, our 3D object is not fixed, and we can drag it with a right mouse button. If we lock the body, an anchor icon will appear on its thumbnail in the 3D history, and the body itself will be statically fixed in the graphics area. The next command will be useful in a large assembly. Show in a viewport. For example, if we have many parts and we want to zoom in on one, we can use Show in a viewport command, and the view will move to that specific part. If we expand the 3D object by clicking on the triangle next to it, we will see the construction history of that specific part. Our part currently contains a sketch and an extrusion operation. Unlike direct modeling, we can edit any component. For example, double-click on the extrusion operation and change its parameters. Specify the distance as 9, taper as 0 degrees, and the positive direction of extrusion. After that, click OK, and we will get the modified body. Similarly, we can edit the sketch. Double-click on the sketch, and we automatically go into editing mode. Increase the length to 60 and the height to 120. Confirm the changes by clicking the End Editing button. As you can see, the parametric model changed following the sketch modification. The next useful command for creating parametric objects is the Revolve command. Similar to extrusion, we need a sketch for rotation. Let's create a new sketch on the ZX plane. Use the Hide command and temporarily hide the first created body. Let's create a sketch. Use the Polyline command. Let's add dimensions. Total width, 7. Step width, 6.5 millimeters. Length, 27.5. Step length, 22.5. End the sketch creation. Let's use the Revolve command. The Operation Parameters menu will appear. First, select the newly created sketch, then click on the axis icon. Now, when hovering the cursor over any line, the rotation axis will be displayed around which our sketch will rotate. Designate the axis so that upon revolving, we obtain a body resembling a washer. Besides choosing an axis, we can specify the angle to which our sketch will be rotated and the direction of rotation. Positive, negative, in both or different directions. Return to full revolve. Click OK. Let's save the resulting bodies. We will need them later. I also think it's important to mention that using Boolean operations for union, subtraction, or creating intersections between bodies of direct and parametric modeling should be avoided to prevent unstable software performance and errors in 3D object geometry. This concludes the part of the parametric modeling lesson dedicated to extrusion and rotation operations. When you are ready, proceed to the next part of the lesson. Thank you for your attention.